Hello guys, how are you? I hope you're fine. Welcome to the channel with Jar of Talents. So, in today's video, we are gonna look at the chapter The French Revolution. So, the French Revolution is from the textbook India and the Contemporary World 1. It's the chapter 1 of class 9 NCERT. So, let's have a look at what are we going to learn in this chapter. Number 1. French society during the late 18th century. Second, the outbreak of the revolution. Third, France abolishes monarchy and becomes a republic. Fourth, did women have a revolution? Number 5, the abolition of slavery. Number 6, the revolution and everyday life. So, let's have a look at the introduction. On the morning of 14 July 1789, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. The king had commanded the troops to move into the city. Rumors had spread that he would soon order the army to open fire upon the citizens. So, some 7,000 men and women gathered in front of the town hall and decided to form a people's militia. They broke into several government buildings in search of arms. Finally, a group of 100 people marched towards the eastern part of the city and stormed the fortress prison, the Bastille, where they hoped to find hoarded ammunition. In the armed fight that followed, the commander of the Bastille was killed and all the prisoners were released, although there were only 7 of them. Yet, the Bastille was hated by all because it stood for the despotic power of the king. The fortress was demolished and its stone fragments were sold in the markets to all those who wished to keep a souvenir of its destruction. So, the days that followed saw more rioting both in Paris and the countryside. Most people were protesting against the high price of bread. Much later, when historians look back upon this time, they saw it as the beginning of a chain of events that ultimately led to the execution of the king in France. At the time, did not anticipate this outcome. So now, let's look at the first topic that we have from this chapter, the French Revolution. French society during the late 18th century. So, in 1774, Louis XVI of the Bourbon family of kings ascended the throne of France. He was only 20 years old and was married to the Austrian prince Marie Antoinette. Upon his accession, the king found an empty treasury. Long years of war had drained the financial resources of France. Added to this was the cost of maintaining an extravagant court at the immense palace of Versailles. So, under the King Louis XVI, France helped the 13 American colonies to gain their independence from the common enemy, Britain. The war added more than $1 billion livres to a debt that had already been risen to more than 2 billion livres. So the lenders who gave the state credit now began to charge 10% interest on loans. So the French government was obliged to spend an increasing percentage of its budget on interest payments alone. So, to meet its regular expenses such as the cost of maintaining an army, the court, and running government offices or universities, the state was forced to increase the taxes. Yet, even this measure would not have sufficed. French society in the 18th century was divided into 3 estates, and only members of the third estate paid the taxes. Peasants made about 90% of the total population. However, only a small number of them owned the land they cultivated. And about 60% of the land was owned by the nobles, the church and other richer members of the third estate. The church too extracted its share of taxes called tithes from the peasants. And finally, all members of the third estate had to pay taxes to the state. These included a direct tax, which is called taille, and there were also several indirect taxes that were levied on articles of everyday consumption like salt and tobacco. These were some of the main indirect taxes collected by the people in that time. So we had some new words in this if you have observed. So what is livery? The unit of currency in France discontinued in 1794. Clergy, group of persons invested with special functions in the church. Tithe, a tax levied by the church, comprising 1/10 of the agricultural produce. Taille, tax to be paid directly to the state. So, let's look at the next topic in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Have a very great day.